And then this is also comic book CBR, comic book resources. I'm going to touch on this because this is just funny. It's like, I want to know, is this one of those, is this going to turn into an attack on J.K. Rowling because she's a TERF? I mean, really anybody with any common sense has to, unfortunately, get called that because there's only men and women. That's not, crucify me for that. Did J.K. Rowling copy Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings for Harry Potter? I mean, you can LARP all you want, make that third category so that, you know, they can all swim in the same pool together. But no, you can't. You're not going to mix people. You're not going to have men beating on women. I'm sorry, I'm not fine with that. And like, no. In the realm of fantasy, few stories would have existed today without the introduction of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R.R.R. Tolkien. I'm kidding. J.R.R. Tolkien. From his works, further inspiration would have eventually be derived as more stories were introduced in the coming decades, from The Witcher to Game of Thrones. What's that? Most of these fantasy tales would go on to be phenomena in their own right. Still, only one would skyrocket to a level of iconography comparable to Tolkien's work. No. I mean, I guess maybe in sales, but I wouldn't say so. Not like well, a level of iconography, yes. I guess that's what I'm talking. I guess that we're talking about the same thing. Everybody does know what Harry Potter is, just like everybody knows what Lord of the Rings is. But I guess the same thing is now true of at least Game of Thrones. I guess maybe The Witcher. I wouldn't say so because I can't. I could. Okay, before I say I couldn't beat the game, I should say I haven't even tried. I got 10 minutes in, and then I don't know what's wrong with me. I would just shut it off. Unfortunately, that's the same thing I kept doing with the show. I can't sit through it. It sucks. I'm sorry. The books might be totally different. I can read anything. I literally read anything. I'm working on a Shakespeare thing right now. What did I start with today? Oh, well, it's one I read already. Yeah, it was Midsummer Night's Dream. That's why I didn't think I read. I didn't read anything today because technically I did. I've read that one. I was thinking of starting The Taming of the Shrew, and then I read, and then I went to take a nap. So that's probably why I can't remember anything from it. So, because I haven't read The Taming of the Shrew, but you know, that's what I mean. I go to do one thing, and I just read something else. I go to start a game, and I go play something else. I think I actually ended up beating BioShock Infinite instead. Come to think of it, that's what I ended up doing. I would start, and I would end up playing BioShock Infinite because that's around the time I beat it. So, side note aside, J.K. Rowling's epic franchise about a young boy who discovered he was a wizard captured the imaginations of generations since her first book was published in 1991. Since then, the franchise has spawned more titles, films, video games, and even theme parks. However, when examined by a microscope, it's fascinating just how much of the series has felt like a parallel to Tolkien's work in The Lord of the Rings. In fact, some parallels are so evident the question has been asked, did J.K. Rowling copy The Lord of the Rings? I don't know how that makes even... Do they mean because there's two old men, and in one book one's gay, and in real life the other wizard's gay? Like, is that what the hell are they trying to say? How are they even like this? Okay, yes. Over the first 7 books in the Harry Potter series, much of the wizarding world was explored, and various creatures, terms, and characters were introduced that could have been compared heavily to what was established in the... Perhaps the most famous comparison came from Frodo and Harry Potter, as both fit the role of Chosen One. How the hell was Frodo the Chosen One? He didn't want to do it. He chose to do it. That's not what the Chosen One is. Everybody else chooses him. God chose him. You know who is the Chosen One in Lord of the Rings? Aragorn. Aragorn was the Chosen One. Thinks this so well, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I will admit I was like living under a rock when I read everything that I've read. I would say I was very antisocial. I didn't really speak to anyone, so maybe these are all just my pure, unfiltered, idiotic thoughts. But I always thought Frodo was not the chosen one. He chose to do the job. It is not the same thing. Aragorn was the chosen one. He was chosen to rule a kingdom by fate and time and all that. Copy Lord of the Rings 2 then? Yeah, I know, because it's wizards. Like, I don't... Like, well, see, even there, Link is more of a chosen one than Frodo is a chosen one. That's why I'm a little confused. Oh, wait, what's going on down here? There was also the addition of Lord Voldemort and how his supreme evil rule were similar to that of Sauron's Middle-earth. Another equal... What? Oh, wait, let me go back up. So Elrond had to endure their own dangerous quest to either destroy the One Ring or Voldemort's multiple... One thing or 8 things? One or... It's the same. It's the same. Yeah, Zelda and Galadriel, totally the same thing, right? Another equally obvious comparison... See, I skipped that line again. It's just, all these are so weird. There was also the addition of Lord Voldemort and how his supreme evil and rule were similar to that of Sauron's Middle-earth. How? He was never, like, he was never... It was all... I feel like that neither... Maybe I forgot, like, I'm currently... Like, I started it and then I stopped. After I read, because I only read like one of these a month, and they're short. You can do it through a day. If you can watch one in an afternoon, you can read one in an afternoon. So I've got to finish reading it. But then I'm gonna go. I guess that's what I'll do, because you got the game coming out soon, and then for Lord of the Rings, you have, and I read that once a year anyway. And Lord of the Rings, you got that silly show. Some smaller... oh, wait. Another one was obvious comparison could be seen with the One Ring's telepathic connection to the ring bearer Sauron, along with Harry and Voldemort's connection through Legilemens. I know that's what it's called, but I've never said it out loud. Legilemens? I think that's what it's supposed to be. Legilemens. Because it's probably Latin for read the mind. Yes, but no. Because if he just took the ring and went like that, he'd have like some whisperings because there's some corruption. Harry can't like peel the scar off, can't like pick the scab off and just throw it. The voices go away. Some smaller comparisons that have been showcased throughout the franchise could also include Dumbledore and Gandalf, who serve as powerful guides for Frodo and Harry. Yes, but in very different ways. There's also the uncanny resemblance between the Black Riders known as Nazguls and Azkaban's Dementors as both... Yeah, and the Boogeyman. What the hell? The parallels would continue, including Shelob and Aragog. That's like one of the only ones you have. That's like the only one. As the resident massive spiders from both franchises, but what's clear is that even if not copied, the inspiration has been more than evident. Yes, and inspiration isn't the same thing as copying. Inspiration is fine. Like, you need to... You can't copy, but you can't... Nobody's going to come up with it. Everything that's under the sun has already been created, or however that stupid line goes. Did JK? No. In 2000 interview with Newsweek, Rowling spoke about her experiences working on the book and upcoming film, mentioned some of her inspirations for writing Harry Potter. Here it is. Here's where she says it. In the interview, she stated that she wasn't much of a fan of fantasy, but she had read The Lord of the Rings when she was 14. Ha! I did it younger, lady. However, she also added, I didn't read The Hobbit until I was in my 20s, much later. Actually, I read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings before I was 14. I'd started Harry Potter by then, and someone gave it to me. At that point, many had assumed Rowling had already read The Hobbit concerning the genre of the story she was crafting, but were surprised to learn the opposite. It's such a dull book. Are you fucking kidding? Like, I can't read The Hobbit. Well, I mean, I can. If I sat there and tried to, I could probably polish it off in a day, because I just wouldn't want to move on to the next day with it. Although the similarities between both stories would imply there was a degree of copying involved in the narrative, there's also the concept of the hero's journey. Yeah, you know, which is a narrative tool that has also helped skyrocket the Star Wars franchise to equal fame. And any good story, Harry Potter is a great example of the hero's journey, right down to the evil nemesis and wise old sage. Plus, since Rowling had never read The Hobbit until after she started the series, why the hell does that even matter? was unlikely she could have copied much without the full story already in her mind. As a result, the only real logic could be any... rather than Rowling had to... What the hell? Why do they keep swapping back and forth? They're two totally... I don't think this person knows The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings are two totally different books. View of Gandalf. Love created Lord of the Rings. Strangest hit. Hobbit's view of Gandalf. And, that's because I think... Isn't it Galadriel Scott or whatever? Is the one that created Gandalf or something? I don't remember. Silmarillion's crazy. I actually got to read that one. I can't just sit there and listen to it. I'm never going to get through it.